I think anyone 24 or younger, you should not really be trading right now unless you get an offer you can say no to, because this is a team that's trying to get younger. You want to try to get out of these like 28-year-olds on long-term deals, plus especially if they're over 30 and they still have like 3 or 4 years left. But just good luck finding a team to take on those contracts.
Welcome to another episode of the Checking From Behind podcast. I'm your host, Zach, as always, joined by my co-host, Preston. We got a big episode as we have a bunch of rumors, news to discuss. Plus, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs on a heater. The Lightning are on a 12-game point streak.
Teams just get on streaks all the fucking time now, man. The Bruins have been playing really well, too.
Bruins have won 5 straight. The Sabres have won 15 of 17. The Lightning are on a heater. The Leafs... Rasmus Andersson trade.
Vegas has won 6 in a row.
Who did?
Vegas has won 6 in a row, too.
Man, I remember at one point where half the Eastern Conference, or more than half of it, would be atop the Pacific Division. And now here's Vegas saying, fuck you all.
Hey, at least someone's got to win the division, right?
Somebody does. Somebody does. They're in the Pacific Division. I mean, the Oilers are only 4 points back of them. They've been playing all right hockey, but the Golden Knights had a good comeback win against the Maple Leafs the other night. 6-5 in overtime, too. No Predators right now. They've won 3 straight, 7 out of the last 10 games, too. They've been playing good hockey. So some of the teams that we are not necessarily expecting, but there are teams out there that are getting their shit together in a way right now, which is good for hockey. And obviously the Eastern Conference is still a mess. We'll get to a team in a bit, the Rangers, who we discussed in the last episode. Drury ended up doing a note about them. But let's start with some quick news, some quick hitters. Rasmus Andersson trade talks are heating up. The Flames are being very aggressive with this, and they want to get a deal done before the Olympic roster freeze on February 4th. And things are basically imminent. He hasn't been held out of the lineup just yet for trade reasons, but, you know, reports suggesting he should be traded sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's not surprising. We all knew he was going to get traded, just a matter of when. Makes sense they want to do it before the Olympic freeze just to get it over with so you can focus on other stuff. Get your new guy, whoever is coming back, get him in the lineup sooner, see what you got.
A guy like Rasmus Andersson, he's going to draw a lot of attention. He's a pending UFA, but with that cap hit, I'm trying to pull it up here. He's a very attractive piece. He could
it's
be
like
a number
4.5 or something like that. It's very, very workable.
Yeah, it's 4.55. So, yeah, 4.5. I think the Flames can get a little bit for him. And I believe the Vegas Golden Knights did try to trade for him over the summer, or at least talk to them. And Rasmus Andersson also isn't going to sign an extension with anybody unless it's Vegas as of over the summer. Obviously, things can change if there's success reasons or he really likes the city living there, etc. You know?
Well, I think if he gets traded to like a non-Vegas team, I think he'll just hit the UFA market. I'm not saying that he's destined to go to Vegas, but he'll at least be able to listen to other offers.
Yeah.
I think just Vegas is the only city, I guess the only team he's determined that without like getting to listen to other teams' offers that he'd be willing to commit to an extension to, just based on what he's heard.
If you're Rasmus Andersson, I would hit the UFA market, whether you get traded to Vegas or not. Just kind of see what's out there, and then he can always go to whether it's Vegas, whether it's a different team. You know, like a team that...
I think that would be the most ideal situation for him, would to just be hit UFA anyway and just see what your options are. And if you like it, I'm sure Vegas will be interested, and they offer you a contract, you can always go back there.
He's going to get a lot of attention before he gets traded, and then obviously if he does hit a open market, there are teams linked like Dallas. We already brought up Vegas Golden Knights, the Maple Leafs, Bruins, and then Detroit and Ottawa. However, though, Detroit is on his modified no-trade list. So
I thought you said Ottawa was.
What's that?
Like you put Ottawa.
I know.
Oh, you said Detroit, though.
I said Detroit and Ottawa.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
But you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if Detroit pursued him because Yzerman's blue line.
Oh, that would make sense. That would make a ton of sense.
It would make a ton of sense. And especially with how they're playing. They're tied atop the Eastern Conference with both Tampa Bay and Carolina as of right now. The blue line isn't great. Go out and get a veteran who's actually a really fucking good defenseman to help.
The Red Wings will trade for a defenseman at the deadline. They will.
It's just a matter of who it is.
Yes.
And if they don't trade for a defenseman, it's just an unserious organization. You do everything in your power to go out and get it.
I can justify the idea of them from like, if I'm the GM, I could justify not trading for a GM if like the prices are too high. Like, okay, what if as Anderson turns into a bidding war and the price gets higher and higher and higher, and you're sitting there, it's like, okay, he's a good player and he'd help our team a lot this year in the playoffs, but is it worth giving up a good prospect, good draft picks for 2 months of this guy?
Mortgaging your future, where he isn't verbally telling Detroit that I will sign an extension the second I get traded, or I will sign an extension after the season.
I mean, that's a risk you're always going to take with rentals on the UFA market. I just don't think Detroit is in a position where they feel comfortable enough to trade away significant futures for guys like that just yet.
They're on the cusp of being in that position, but still a year or two away.
Yeah, they still have a lot of good young players developing in their system, so there's no need to rush it. As weird as that sounds, this is a team that hasn't been in the playoffs in like 8 years. And, they should have made the playoffs last year that they blew it. 2 years ago, they also blew it. But I think they are a playoff team this year. They still need a goaltender. They're not trading for a goalie. The goaltending market's garbage right now.
Not only that, but also Yzerman has shown he's very patient with these young players, and he's just patiently waiting for both Augustine and or Costa to be ready.
I think that's the right approach. You still have a lot of young defensemen in your system. They just drafted Bear, who I think is going to be a really good player for them.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be in the NHL either next year or the year after that. So I'm not. I'm sure if you can get him for a reasonable price, the Red Wings would love to do it. But if it comes to a bidding war, I think they'll just look at another option.
And you know what? I'll bring this player up when we talk about the Rangers. But with the Rangers wanting to retool, if you're the Red Wings, if Anderson, let's say Anderson, that turns into a bidding war, and it's like, okay, now you're gonna have to give up one of your better prospects plus some draft picks, whatever. You say no to that, you pivot over to a guy like maybe Braden Schneider in New York, depending on his price and depending on if the Rangers are willing to pivot off of him and trade him somewhere for future assets, whatever. But there's a lot of options here for the Red Wings, and with Rasmus Andersson too. I know he doesn't have a bunch of say where he goes. He only has a small 6-team no trade list or whatever it is. But if also I'm Calgary, I understand he's not going to come back to Calgary. You're trying to trade him and you want the best offer. If you're Calgary and you're competing, I know they're kind of, where are they sitting in the standings right now? Towards the bottom still? Yeah, they're 44. They're 7 points out right now.
Their season's probably done.
So you get the best offer, whether it is the Vegas inside your own division, whether it's the fucking Boston all the way on the East Coast or whatever.
Well, they have a unique thing here too where, let's say they're talking with Vegas, for instance, and they have a firm offer from Vegas as a UFA. If he doesn't re-sign with them, you can then say, hey, we're going to give your agent a couple days to talk with Vegas and see if you guys can come with an extension, that we'll do a sign and trade, and then they can get even more for him in a trade. Because if you could trade him along with an extension, that almost doubles the value, I think, for him in a trade.
It does. Teams are not as willing to give up a haul for a player if he's just on your team for 2 months, unless you're 1,000% for certain going to win the Stanley Cup. And that's obviously never certain. Anything can happen once you get in the 16-team tournament.
Well, I think the way, specifically in the Pacific Division, that bracket's shaping out to be, Vegas looks poised for a deep playoff run. I don't know, let's say they make it to the conference final, if they play Colorado or Dallas, I don't know if they could beat them right now. So Vegas is definitely going to be buying at the deadline, whatever they can get.
They will be buying in. How things look right now, I don't think they would be Colorado or Dallas. However, though, there also is a team just getting hot at the right time, too. Vegas has been a very streaky team this season, like a lot of teams have been. But Colorado has 5 regulation losses. Dallas has 27 wins right now in 48 games. Those are 2 teams that
Minnesota is also a really good team. Not to write off Minnesota. Any of those top 3 teams in the Central is going to be a bloodbath in the playoffs for that bracket.
It is going to be. And
Vegas also just got Aiden Hill back, so I know he looked a little shaky in his first game back, but he hasn't played in 3 months. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. But once he gets going, if he can get some more consistency at goalie, I think that's been the biggest issue for Vegas is goaltending this year.
It has been
We all know they could score goals and play really good team hockey, but if your goalie, you can't get a save, there's nothing you can really do about it.
I mean, getting Aiden Hill back is a huge boost. They don't have a single goaltender that is above 900 save percentage right now. Kier Schmidt has 24 games played right now and has an 896 save percentage, but a 247 goals against average. So what that tells me is that the team's just not allowing a ton of shots.
Yeah,
Which is good, which is what you want, which is what a lot of Stanley Cup teams are. So I'm intrigued to see where Rasmus Andersson goes. Obviously, I'll be the first on it. We'll be the first on it when Andersson gets traded.
I'm texting him right now, actually.
Yeah. No. Okay. How about Chris Drury and the New York Rangers, by the way? Shout out. I feel so bad for one of our consistent viewers over on the YouTube side of things, Rangers fan. RIP, hopping on the Avalanche and Sabres bandwagon because the Rangers are so poverty. But the Drury ended up actually coming out with having like a letter with the Rangers organization about to the fans addressing them and how they plan on the retool. They won't be extending Panarin. Panarin said he's okay with whatever. It's a complete mess in the Big Apple right now. So here we are.
I just want to thank you, Chris Drury, because we were just talking on Wednesday about how the Rangers season's over. Thank you for confirming that the Rangers season's over. Because like that's one team in the East that I can definitively cross off the playoff contention list now. Their GMs literally said, we're not looking to be competitive right now. We're kind of giving up on this season.
There's a part of me that wants to go all in on the Rangers for fucking everything up. Because like we said on our last episode on Wednesday and Thursday, they had a prime opportunity to still be in contention right now with how many young players they had.
They won the draft lottery. Yeah, I mean, was Lafreniere a mistake at one?
I got to take a look back at that draft. I don't want to say he's a mistake at one because he like teared it up. What was he like in the U.S. National Development Program or whatever it was?
He's not American.
I know, but he's still. Did he not? Oh, sorry, he played in the Q. I think. My bad.
Yeah.
What was it? The 2020 draft?
Yeah. No, honestly, looking back on that draft, the right pick at number 1 was probably Tim Stützle.
I mean, that's the NFL draft. Oops, my bad. Yeah, Tim Stützle right now, I mean, for sure. Where did he get picked in the top 10?
3. Jake Sanderson, you can make a good argument for that, too. 2020 was a weird draft. You didn't have a lot of film. Like, a lot of guys, their season got cut off.
Yeah.
Like, just looking at the top 10 is weird.
But, okay, so these are the players that I would take over Lafreniere right now. Not to dog on him or whatever. That got taken in this draft. I'm just looking at the first round, so if there's somebody taking in, like, the fucking 4th round, I'm sorry that I missed him here. But early here. I would take Byfield, Stützle, Raymond, Sanderson, Rossi, Jarvis.
I wouldn't take Rossi over Lafreniere.
I would. Rossi's a dog. I would take Jarvis.
Brock Faber was a 2nd-round pick in the draft.
I would take Faber.
I don't think it's all Lafreniere's fault. I think the Rangers have notably been not great at player development, in my opinion.
Yes. They've screwed it up. That's why part of me wants to go in on them for screwing up this window that they've been on.
Yeah, I think it's been a bunch of short-sighted, like, in-the-moment decisions where they're not thinking about the long-term future necessarily. They're thinking about what can we do to win now. And that almost paid off for them. They had a deep playoff run where they arguably could have won in the conference final if they could just score a damn goal.
They could have been to a cup final or two. If, like you said, they were able to score a goal. They're 5-on-5 in the 2 playoff runs that they've had. In, like, the little 5-year span, 4-year span, or whatever, has been dog shit. Their power play was really good until they got to the conference finals where teams were able to figure them out, and then they couldn't score a power play going at that point. They were kind of screwed, and Shesterkin's putting up a .930 save percentage, and you were losing in 5 or 6 games.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. You think Igor's happy he signed that extension?
I mean, when he did sign it, him betting on the Rangers last season was just a fluke. It's clearly not a fluke anymore.
Yeah, well, this team has significant scoring issues. Like, their top 6 is one of the oldest in the league. Like, you have Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, who is not going anywhere anytime soon. He's still got 4 years left on his contract. JT Miller, I've said that time and time and again. I think that trade was a huge mistake for the Rangers.
Traded for him to try to make the playoffs and failed to do so.
Yeah, Lafreniere, just his long-term extension just kicked in. Trocheck's got 3 more years. Like Chris Drury identified his core. He gave them all huge contracts, and now you kind of got to pay the price for it.
So this is how the Rangers should go with their retool, because there's certain contracts that are untradeable. Like you just went over, some of those players untradeable, right? We said it in last week's our last episode. A team could be willing to take on the Alexi Lafreniere contract and try to fix him. 24 years old, making 7.4, has shown the potential that he
I don't
can
think the
be
Rangers
good.
will trade him.
There is, I think you could move off of Will Cully or Cooley, whatever. I love him, but you could get back some assets for him.
I think anyone 24 or younger, you should not really be trading right now unless you're going to offer you can say no to, because this is a team that's trying to get younger. You want to try to get out of these like 28-year-olds on long-term deals, plus especially if they're over 30 and they still have like 3 or 4 years left. But just good luck finding a team to take on those contracts.
Trading a guy like Carson Soucy, I know Will Borgen has been actually solid for them at 29 at 4.1. I know earlier I mentioned Braden Schneider. I love Schneider. Don't trade him at all. Although if there's like you said, an offer that, let's say the Red Wings come to their offers like, here's this, and it's like, we cannot pass up on this, then go for it. And
so I just want to note one thing too with the Rangers. So the same thing kind of happened in like 2017, 2018. Where they put out a similar statement saying, we're committed to a retool. We're going to give ourselves a couple years to recuperate some players and be competitive again. And then literally the next summer they went out and signed Artemi Panarin into that contract, and then they made the playoffs that year. Mind you, it was because of the COVID bubble where they took more teams, but they still made it. And then they lost in the qualifying round and won the draft lottery. I'm glad that it was on a team like Pittsburgh or Edmonton or something that won that qualifying pick.
Yeah,
that was a weird situation.
That was just a weird
I can't believe the
time.
NHL did that.
Like the whole like, if you lost in the qualifying round, like you're still eligible for the lottery.
Yeah, because
didn't the Rangers jump up from like 14 or whatever to
something like? Well, the thing that was bullshit about that was, I think it was like only 6 teams didn't make the playoffs. Those 6 teams were really bad.
Yeah.
So I could completely understand saying it's just these 6 teams that are eligible for the first overall pick. Like if you couldn't make the playoffs, where we took almost the entire fucking league, yeah, you suck, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just a completely absurd thing to have a team that lost in the qualifying round. Which the NHL technically counts those as playoff games, by the way.
So
be eligible to win the draft lottery.
I would ask you this. So if we were in charge of the league at that time, right? Obviously, you just said those 6 teams that did not even get a chance in the qualifying round only have a chance at the first overall pick. The teams that lost in the qualifying round, would we still place them in base of like their record or whatever? Like,
yeah, after the 6 first 6 picks, then you just go based on who lost in the qualifying round. We'll rank up by points.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Or points percentage, whatever.
Yeah,
I know like some teams.
Yeah, probably it would probably be points percentage. Yeah,
that'd be.
So like whoever was like the lowest, they have the 7th pick. Yeah, because I think they should have only done a lottery for the first overall pick. There's only 6 teams. But the thing that was also bullshit about that is when the qualifying team, a team that lost in the qualifying round won the first overall pick, all those teams that lost had an equal chance to get that pick in another lottery.
Yes, I remember that. That was fucking.
Because everyone was like kind of tweaking out and saying like, is Pittsburgh going to get Lafreniere? Is Edmonton going to get Lafreniere? Like there were some decent teams that got upset in the qualifying round that had a legitimate chance to get the first overall pick.
I remember there was legitimately like fear that the Penguins were going to get him specifically.
Well, yeah, they had just come off their like 2 back-to-back cups. They were like kind of in a retooling phase, and they're like, oh yeah, here's Alexi Lafreniere, because he was the consensus number 1 at that point.
Was. I mean, he tore it up in the queue.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, he was going to go number 1 no matter who was drafting first overall.
Hold on. I'm going to look up Alexi Lafreniere's EP here, Elite Prospects. Can the stats load? Oh, everything's loading at the moment. I don't know why there's no data found. Anyways, yeah, he was the consensus number 1 overall pick. And even we look back at it now, it's like, oh, why didn't you just take, Byfield or Stutzar or whatever? Like, we can always look back at every single draft and be like, this player is better than this player. Why did you take this player?
Hindsight's 20/20. In the moment, I think any team that had that number 1 overall pick in that draft was taking Alexi Lafreniere.
Yes,
without a doubt. a young, powerful, a power forward center. You can't pass that up. It was just the Rangers. I don't think did a great job developing him because then the next year, it was either the next year or the year after that, they ended up getting the second overall pick in the draft,
Yeah.
and they drafted Capo Caco, and
And
he's no longer on the team.
you had those two players, and it was like these are going to be the two pillars to build your franchise around, and they weren't able to develop.
Well, they had made that trade for Mika Zibanejad a couple years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They got out like bandits in that trade, and then they bring in Panarin. It's like, okay, we went from being like, okay, we have to commit to like kind of a retool to like, oh, we can make the playoffs now. And they did take advantage of it. They had a couple deep playoff runs, but in the end, it didn't work out.
It didn't work out, and now we're back here to basically where they were.
No, I don't think they'll get that lucky again and have everything fall on their laps like that to kind of accelerate this process.
This is why I don't like that they're retaining Drury after the season because when did he become the GM?
2021.
So he became GM like right as everything was falling into place.
Yes.
Everything fell in his fucking lap, and he could have taken advantage of it. It's still like I'm not even.
I still think the biggest thing is the coaches they had.
Yes.
Like they got a lot of veteran leaning coaches. Like Gerard Gallant is known league wide for not really developing young players well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Peter Laviolette, who I think is a fine coach, and I think had been their most successful coach during this little run they've had since like 2020. And then now you have Mike Sullivan, who I didn't like that hire when they did it to begin with. I understand their process. Like, we have a veteran-focused team. We want a veteran leader. He's won 2 Stanley Cups in Pittsburgh. Statistically one of the best coaches in Pittsburgh Penguins history. I get the idea. I still didn't like the fit.
It's not 10 years ago, Mike Sullivan.
Yeah, the league's different now. You don't have Sidney Crosby. No offense to anyone on the Rangers. Like those Pens teams, when they won those back-to-back cups, were stacked.
They were disgusting.
Yeah.
And it does help, like you said, you have Crosby, Malkin, Letang.
But they had so many good young players on them. Like Jake Gensel, he was starting to come out. Brian Rust. They had a really good mix of good, smart. They had Phil Kessel as well. Phil Kessel was awesome in Pittsburgh for those couple years he was there.
And then Matt Murray was the starting goaltender.
Yeah, Matt Murray was a great story. They had a great defensive core. Like that was just a really smartly built team.
And it's not like the Rangers. So we've seen it with the Sabres a little bit where they just needed to put the pieces together where their roster on paper is good. It's like, why aren't they figuring it out? This is the exact opposite thing with the Rangers. It wasn't like last season where it's like, oh, this roster has talent on it. They just weren't able to put it together last season. And then it's like, okay, we got to make a coaching change, whatever. The Rangers roster just on paper is not that great. And they, like we've said, development players has been the number one thing. The roster building, like locking up 29-year-olds to $8 million deals is not ideal unless they are like an elite superstar, which I didn't think any of them are. You ended up signing Mika Zibanejad to a long-term deal a few years ago.
I have no issue with that. Zibanejad was balling out. He's kind of declined a little bit since then, but if you look back at that trade the Rangers made at the time to acquire him, man, they traded him, Derek Brassard, to Ottawa, and they got Zibanejad back, and that was a big W for the Rangers.
Zibanejad looked like he was just going to be a good player in the league, and then with the Rangers, he
took the next step.
He took the next step,
yeah.
And then he was like on like this little plateau, but it was like a really good player, and all of a sudden in the last couple of years he's just been like on a.
I still think he's a top 6 player in this league. I don't know if he's a top line guy, but I think almost any team in the league would have him at least on the second line.
I mean, he's smart, obviously. He's still a solid player, not a very good player like he once was. And this all circles back to Igor Shesterkin here, who, by the way, like we mentioned before, him and Adam Fox are just on IR, which could that be a reason why this team is just like, yeah, we just don't want to be competitive this season, most likely?
The biggest thing is Igor. Adam Fox is a great defenseman.
Elite Vezina. He's a Vezina candidate.
Norris winning defenseman. He has kind of looked off a little last couple of years. Didn't make Team USA's Olympic roster due to that. He wasn't. I was thinking about that a little bit more, and I was looking at his stats from the Four Nations face-off, and he was not good in that tournament.
He was actually not great.
Yeah, no points, and I think he was a -4 or something like that.
He wasn't good defensively.
Yeah, so that makes a little bit more sense now to why maybe he was held off that roster.
Yeah,
especially with the season he's had this year. I think. Well, now that he's hurt, obviously he's not going to be on the team, but.
I was so pissed off that he was not picked on the team.
It makes a little bit more sense to me now.
Just a little bit.
Well, he was going to be like an injury replacement player, right?
Yeah. And then he got hurt himself.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Igor being out for the Rangers, even if he misses 3 games, those games are L's.
This is so worse. I'm going to ask you this because Igor and Hellebuck are probably the consensus 1 and 2 goaltenders in the league when they both are healthy. What is the worst collapse this season? Not having Hellebuck for the Jets or not having Igor for the Rangers? Because
The Jets.
the Jets ended up losing Ehlers, which basically lost a lot of their point scoring.
But I still thought they'd be a playoff team. Like nobody thought they were going to have the season that they did last year, where they like run away with a President's Trophy and everything like that. But I still expected them to be competitive in that Pacific Division and at least be a wild card team, especially with how. I'm sorry, I said Pacific. I meant Central, especially with how weak the Pacific Division is. Because if like Hellebuck getting hurt changed things a lot for that team because they didn't really have a backup plan because Eric Comrie is a below average backup.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting the defensive output that they had last season. And when you rely so much on your goaltender like they do, and the goal scoring went down, like you said, they lost Ehlers.
Mm-hmm.
So their goal scoring output went down a little bit.
And their depth has literally contributed little to no scoring at all.
Last year was kind of a magic season, but I still thought they'd be at least competitive for a playoff spot.
I think that expectations were higher with the Jets, obviously because of the season that they have, but also because looking compared to the East and the West, I thought they were at least be able to sneak into the playoffs in the Western Conference with how very top heavy
Yeah, I
it
thought
is.
they'd be a wild card team minimum.
But looking at just performance wise, like the Jets, I think that they can still string together some wins.
Well,
if
they're on a
Hellebuck's his
4-game
top
heater
game.
right now. Like, if they play like this for another week or two, they could save their season.
They could very well save their season. And like they only have a -3 goal differential, and compared to the Rangers, -21, where the Rangers are like really good on the road.
The Rangers are a bad team. I'm just gonna say
They're
straight
really
up.
bad on the at home ice. So
That's inexcusable to be that bad at home.
it is very inexcusable.
This episode is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. The jaw-dropping moments that make hockey, hockey. You know, the ones, the overtime snipes, the impossible saves, the hits that shake the boards. And now you can experience them all in a whole new way with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. And now, DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in Missouri. That means you can get in on the action right alongside the rest of us. And new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll score $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's right, turn a single shot into a full-on highlight reel of bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That is 467-3669. In Connecticut, help is available for gambling problems. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. Must be the age of 21 years or older. Age and eligibility vary by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after assurance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos for details. NFL Sunday ticket offer for new subscribers only. Auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional terms at youtube.com/pro/NFL Sunday ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
All right, quick timeout before we get back to the action. This episode is brought to you by W Energy. Listen, hockey's fast, and whether you're breaking down plays, yelling shoot from the couch, or just getting in a workout, you've got to stay sharp. That's where W comes in. Clean energy with zero sugar, no crash, no artificial flavors or dyes. Just 150 milligrams of caffeine per serving, about 2 cups of coffee's worth to keep you locked in and ready to go. Personally, I use W before the gym, on the ice, and even when prepping content for the pod. If you need that extra spark, whether you're grinding through work, lifting, or lacing up the skates, W's got you covered. Head over to W.GG and use code CFBPOD for 10% off your order. That's W.GG, code CFBPOD for 10% off your order. Fuel up, stay locked in, and let's get back to the episode. All right, let's pivot over to some positive stuff here with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning. But starting with the Toronto Maple Leafs here, they're on a fucking heater. And I hate it so much. I hate it so much because it's just another team you can add to the Eastern Conference mix. God, but they're 8-1-2 in their last 11 games. They're 6-1-3 in their last 10 games, whatever. They ended up having, before their loss against Utah a few nights ago, they were on like a 8 or 9 game point streak, whatever it was. I think it was a 9 game point streak. Matthews found a scoring touch. They sit 2 points back of Boston right now at 54 points in 47 games. Boston's at 56. Same with Buffalo. The Toronto Maple Leafs have found their groove, man. They have found their groove.
I'm still not buying it.
I'm not buying it either. I think it's a little bit lucky. Their PDO is 103.8, which is combined with a little bit of luck, but also elite finishing. However, though, you look at some other analytics, their Corsi percentage is still in the bottom 5 during this streak, which means that they're just getting a lot of luck on this. And Joseph Woll has been playing really good. Austin Matthews ended up having like a 3-game stretch of 6 goals, which included.
Did you see that goal that Vegas ended up scoring on overtime to win?
No.
What is Austin Matthews doing there?
Oh, I saw screenshots of that on Twitter.
He just gave up.
Austin Matthews and Eichel started on the same end or same end of the ice, whatever. And then you look at where Eichel is compared to Matthews when Eichel scores the goal. Matthews is like damn near not even in the frame.
Oh yeah, it was a 3-on-2 essentially. Like no wonder why Vegas scored there. I mean, the fact that they even blew that game was a little mind-boggling to me. That's where I'm not. The Maple Leafs, they're a decent team. They're going to be in playoff contention, probably for the rest of the season. But I'm not really buying them as like legit playoff contenders right now.
I'm not buying into them
Well,
yet.
freaking William Nylander got hurt again, bumping into the wall. Did you see that?
No, I did.
I think he had
didn't see
scored
that.
a goal or something, and he bumped into the wall to celebrate, and he like fucked his hip up or something. He didn't come back to the game, and he's been dealing with injuries all season.
That changes things. I know he's been dealing. I didn't know that he ended.
Yeah,
That's
he
funny.
got hurt bumping into the wall. Nobody touched him.
I don't mean to laugh at him getting injured. I just find it hilarious that that's how he got hurt.
Yeah.
Oh man. But
Yeah, I think the Leafs miss Mitch Marner. I think Marner misses the Leafs a little bit because his numbers are kind of down to what we're used to with Mitch Marner.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he has like 49 points in 48 games, whatever. Just a
Still
little
good numbers, but
for his standards.
Yeah.
He put up 100 points last season.
well, I think even by like some more advanced metrics I was looking at, his numbers are pretty down across the board.
I'll actually take a look because I think you're right.
I think part of it is he's in a new team, a new system, all new teammates, after being in Toronto for so long and, playing with guys like Matthews and Nylander. I think there's a bit of adjusting period. He's going to be there for 7 more years, so plenty of time to get some chemistry with his new teammates.
Let's see. Player cards. I'm on Jay Fresh's thing here compared to Evolving Hockey. Let me see here. Oh. So yeah, Mitch Marner, I mean, advance-wise, his goals are down a little bit, but outside of that, like, his defense is great, his power play is great, finishing is great. Obviously, his first assist will always be great because he's one of the best playmakers in the entire league. But everything's up from 23-24. Last season was obviously really, really good because of the season that he had, and this season is kind of about the same. His WAR percentile rank is down just a hair compared to last season, where he was in the 99th percentile.
Oh,
He's in
buddy.
He's in the 97th now, with down season.
3% of the players in the league are better than you, bud. What are you doing?
Fuck, man. You have to step your game up, but yeah, they do miss him a little bit.
I think the Leafs miss him a lot.
The Leafs' depth has been coming through lately, but it's been very inconsistent. Joseph Woll has been a brick wall lately, but most of the season he hasn't been good.
But Wall's deal with injuries as well. Isn't Stolar still out on injured reserve?
Yeah, I believe Solars is right now too.
Yeah, Toronto's a hard team to trust right now. I think every team in the East is hard. Like in that wild card conversation, is hard to trust right now.
Every team that is around the Leafs, every team that is around the Bruins, Sabres, Capitals, like, it is hard. But the Penguins are streaky. The Sabres have won 15 of their last 17. Streaky Bruins. The Maple Leafs have gotten it going a little bit. Capitals very inconsistent.
I mean, the Blue Jackets are on a 3-game heater now since firing their coach.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll work their way back into things. Like I said, the only team in the East that I'm like comfortably saying like, yeah, you're over, your season's over, bud, is the Rangers.
Yeah, and
Which is wild to say halfway through January.
which there's like one team that you can say like, yeah, they're done.
Yeah.
Only one team, not 2 or 3, one, which is crazy to think about. I think the Blue Jackets, this is just a little bit of a
I think,
boost.
yeah, they're kind of on life support right now, I'd say. If they have another good week, who knows what could happen?
No, it's
'Cause
great.
this is what happened with the Sabres. They looked dead, and then they've been on a heater lately, and now all of a sudden they're wild card one, right? Huge win over Montreal the other night.
Yes.
Like we'll see if they can keep it going. Florida had a big loss last year. They lost 9-1 to the Hurricanes. The Flyers have been playing like shit lately. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They looked like, oh, they're probably gonna they may be a top 3 Metro team, and now they're 4 points out of a wild card spot.
This is what I think is going to happen with the East. I know we've went from the Leafs to just the East as a whole, but it's hard to. So I think the Sabres are going to stay in it most of the season, if not the entire season. Same thing with the Bruins. The Leafs are going to hang around a little bit.
Bruins, I think the Bruins are like so hard to trust because they'll go and win 5 or 6 games in a row, and then they'll play like shit for 2 weeks.
They'll have like 2 wins in their next 8 games.
Yeah.
And it's just
This has been their season. If they've been a little bit more consistent, they'd probably be top 3 in the Atlantic right now.
and they started off the season very, very hot, and they were at one point, I think, leading the Atlantic Division.
And then they had
for a bit.
a bad 2 weeks, and then they weren't even in a playoff spot.
Yep. And now they're back here tied for a playoff spot with Buffalo and 2 points up on the Leafs and Capitals.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the Sabres are in a good spot right now in terms of games played too, because they have played the least amount of games in the conference. With them, the Panthers and the Senators all at 46. So if they keep, assuming they win the games they have in hand, they're in a strong spot right now as well.
And this is where, if you're Buffalo, any team that you play in the Eastern Conference, you have to get a clean 2 regulation points
Well, they
out.
had a huge week this last week where they played,
Florida, Philly, Montreal.
and they win 2 out of 3 of those games.
Yep, they ended up beating Montreal and Philadelphia, and they ended up losing to a very weak Panthers team that's just.
I watched that
injuries.
game. The Panthers just kind of outworked them. I think they figured out what the Sabres were trying to do, and they just the Sabres couldn't get breakthrough the system the Panthers were playing. That's going to happen every once in a
It
while.
happens. You're not going to win every single game. It happens.
I don't know. I still like. I'm a diehard Sabres fan. I still find this team hard to trust. I don't know. I'm not used to having conversations like this about this team.
You know, Preston, when they ended up winning 10 straight, it's like they have to have a good month of January, right? January 17th, he's like, we got to wait another 2 more weeks. Win fucking
Dude,
20 out of their last 24 games.
I promise you, we could be like in March, like, oh, like they have a 15-point cushion. I was like, we could have a bad 2 weeks, and I don't know. It's been so long. It's hard for me to trust them, and I think that's reasonable.
It is reasonable. Okay, so our buddy Chris, who, by the way, trying to get him to be our producer for like fucking a year and a half now, won't budge. Anyways, he is all like, Sabres, fucking playoffs nailing it right now.
I mean, he's always been like that, though.
I know he's always been like that. And I'm like that in a way. You're on the exact opposite spectrum of Chris, and then I'm in the middle. I'm like, I fucking love this. We can go to the playoffs.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm going to the game today. I'm amped to be going.
He's
right?
like 6-0 win, nail it in.
I don't know about against the Wild, but they have some injuries right now, but they're still an elite team in my opinion. They still got Quinn Hughes and Kirill Kaprizov.
Hey, I just want to mention something. You guys, well, not why you guys. We are going against a very struggling Gustafsson who has not been playing good hockey as of late, so you never know. Anyways, yeah, go on.
But like I said, like it's been so long, and I've taken the bait before, and I've gotten hurt by it. I want the Sabres to be good so bad. I want them to make the playoffs more than anything. But I don't know. It's definitely a me thing.
You know what? This is a big spring and summer for the Sabres in Buffalo. You want to know why? Game 3, we are there for home game because we're not getting the top spot.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm already in a spot where, like, if the Sabres make the playoffs, like, I will get tickets.
We're there. You know what? We'll be fucking outside asking people how it feels. A bunch of drunk bastards going out there screaming into a microphone.
It was really
draft.
weird. Like, I went to a Bills game a couple weeks ago against the Eagles. Bills ended up losing last second. And then somebody was walking out. I was like, hey, at least we got the Sabres. And people weren't, like, telling him to shut up. And I was like, what the fuck?
It's not being sarcastic. It's
Yeah.
being, like, actually for real.
Because that was when they were in the middle of their 10-game winning streak.
And you know what's even better about the Sabres being on this heater? And a very popular NBA player, forgot who it is, but he's on the 76ers. It wasn't Jared McCann. Maybe it was Maxey. I could be completely
Say
wrong.
Jared McCann?
Yeah.
There's a guy named Jared McCann in the NBA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Thought you were talking about the guy in Seattle.
no, not him. He ended up actually going into a game last night in a throwback. So you know the royal blue
Yeah,
Alternates with
Chris sent the
Buffalo.
picture of that. Yeah, I have no idea who I don't watch the NBA. I just watch LeBron. So
Yeah, fair enough. He ended up walking into his game in a Tyler Ennis knockoff Buffalo Sabres jersey.
dude, those jerseys are elite.
I love them.
And then you
Oh, is that what you said in the Discord about they need to bring the jerseys back?
yeah, the bottle cap jerseys
Yeah.
are elite jerseys.
Yeah.
I love those jerseys.
They are. They are. And in the mix of the entire Eastern Conference, here come the old Tampa Bay Lightning who said, we're not down yet.
Dude,
11 straight wins, 12-game point streak. They're back.
they're good. They're good. They're a great team.
They're a very good team. Kucherov said, fuck you thought. Vasilevsky said, I might be 25,000 years old, but I'm still here, an elite goaltender.
Yeah, no, they've done a really good job retooling. I've been super like. I think once like Vasilevsky and Kucherov and Hedman's been hurt too. Hedman hasn't played in like a month.
Yeah.
And they're doing this without Hedman.
You know, want to know one hero, an unsung hero is fucking Radish. Darren Radish. It's a point per game, Darren Radish, mind you, by the way.
Dude, Tampa, I don't get them, man, because they can like have no draft picks, right? And then they draft some dude in the 5th round you never heard of, and all of a sudden he's like a top 6 forward or something like that. It's a wild thing to me, but like I said before, I didn't finish my thought. They've done a marvelous job kind of keeping this team competitive and keeping their window open because, you know, they won those back-to-back Stanley Cups. Then they lost the next year to Colorado. They've made the playoffs every year, like the last 10 years almost. It's probably been longer than that. You know, they've had to move on from some guys, like the captain, Steven Stamkos, and they've had to make some difficult decisions. But at the same time, how big of a big brain move was bringing in Jake Gensel? That dude's been amazing for them. Brandon Hagel, they gave up 2 first-round picks for him. Everyone's like, you're giving up 2 first-round picks for Brandon Hagel. Dude's an elite player on their team.
An elite player.
The only fuck up that Lightning have made, I think, the last few years that was really a mistake was when they traded for Tanner Jeannot. I still don't know what that trade was.
That trade was dog shit. Although I understood it because again, they're
You're gonna bring up a first, second, third, fourth, and a fifth for freaking.
They probably
him?
Where did they get him from? Nashville was it at the time?
Yeah.
They probably called Nashville and was like, hey, we'll give you a first, second, third, fourth, fifth for Jeannot. And then they're like, we'll take it. And then,
Oh yeah, you'd be stupid not to take that.
There is a player that Tampa Bay also drafted recently that is like absolutely disgusting. And I'm trying to find the player here on the elite prospects, but I don't recognize his name at all. And I saw the name on Twitter that he's like going crazy. Is it this guy right here? Benjamin Retooling, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't know, but he's playing in the Liga right now, and he has 55 points in 38 games in Finland. Maybe that's him. I don't know. But Tampa, though, like I just wanted to bring that back to they have like no draft picks, and then they just draft some stud, and he just becomes like a very good NHL player a few years later. They just have been really good at developing and drafting and retooling. Remember when they were first round exits like back-to-back years? Were they first round exits last year too?
Yes.
So they've been first round exits ever since they went 3 straight cups. And it's been kind of like this is the downfall of the Lightning. Like they're just going to be mid until they're just bad at one point. And now here
Well,
they
kind of
are.
like Pittsburgh after they won the back-to-back cup. So they made the playoffs a couple more times after that, but then they kind of accepted their fate that like we gotta get younger.
Because they were, after that 2022-23 season where they ended up blowing the series lead against the Rangers, it's kind of looking at that. It's like, okay, well, now we have to get younger. But Hextall, who was the GM at the time, was not accepting that. He was like, we can still try to win a Stanley Cup with Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and it didn't work out. Gets fired, bring in Dubas, and now he's done a good job getting younger and helping retooling the roster. And the Lightning have been doing that just as good, where they haven't had to make a general manager change in order to do that. They've recognized that, okay, we have to retool now, get younger, but also John Cooper is such a phenomenal coach. One of the best coaches in NHL history.
Yes.
Will be in the Hockey Hall of Fame once it's
Without
all said
a
and done.
doubt.
No doubt about it.
Without a doubt.
And is he an Olympic?
He's the Olympic coach, yes.
I know that, but has he won a gold medal yet?
I'm not sure if he was the Olympic coach because the last one with NHL coaches, I think, was
2014.
Yes. So I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, probably not.
So I think I think that's I think that was one of his first years in Tampa.
It was. He was with Tampa 2014, 2015, something around there.
Yeah, no, he's an amazing coach. Yeah, he's one of the best coaches of all time, in my opinion.
He's a Hockey Hall of Famer without a gold medal. Now, if he can add one this year.
Oh yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters.
Oh, it doesn't.
He will be a first ballot Hall of Fame coach without a doubt.
And what he's done with this team, and by the way, this is all coming off the backs of, by the way, Kucherov has 69 points in 42 games, Gensel 47 in 46 games. Hagel's been solid. You want to know something? A guy like Braden Point, who has been disrespected.
Point and Chiarelli, man, like those are like
underrated guys.
Amazing draft picks. Franchise legends. I think there's a bunch of players on this Lightning team that when they retire, their numbers are going to be retired. Obviously, they have some Hall of Famers. Like Stamkos, I think, is a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
When he's retired, they're going to retire 91. Kucherov, 1,000%. Victor Hedman, I also think, is a Hall of Famer. And same thing with Andrei Vasilevsky. So you have 4 Hall of Famers there.
Yes, you do.
And I think that Braden Point's been so good for them. Like I don't know if he's a Hall. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame.
He's
NHL
a Hall of very good players.
But he'll be. I think there's a solid chance the Lightning will retire his number as well.
I don't know. I'm assuming the Lightning have their own hockey or Hall of Fame.
Every team has their own Hall of Fame. Yeah.
I would at least throw Point in there for sure, 1,000%. Obviously, the 4 guys you mentioned, whatever, retire their numbers, Hall of Fame, whatever. One of some of the greatest players that ever put on a Lightning sweater, no doubt about it. So, the Lightning have done a really good job, and now they started off kind of slow. I remember like the first month and a half of the season, and right even before the streak, they were kind of sitting there around like the wild card spot.
Yeah, well, they have the last few years. It's like okay,
right.
They'll probably make the playoffs. Like they're not gonna like shock anybody, but they're a playoff team.
And this is the same thing that happened with like the Sabres. I'm not going to compare them to the Avalanche because they've been doing it literally since game 1 of the season, but where you go on a streak and you go from a team that's kind of like in the middle of the pack or like down in the standings to now you're in the thick of things. Now the Lightning have climbed their way from the wild card spot and potentially barely squeaking into.
I expect the Lightning to win the division.
Yes. They have the most experience. They have the best goaltender in the division. Unless I'm missing anybody. They have the best coach in the division. And I know that includes Paul Maurice in that division as well, but the Lightning...
I don't know. Paul Maurice, yeah, he's also a Hall of Fame coach.
Yes, he is. I think he has, the second most all-time games played in NHL history? I believe.
Something like that. I mean, he's got 2 Stanley Cups, too. Dude's a baller.
Yeah, so... I fully expect this Lightning team to win the division. They have 162 goals for to 119 goals against.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And if you go about in their division, they have the goal differential lead by 33 goals.
I'm looking at the goal differential for the whole league, and dude, what even are the Colorado Avalanche, man? They have 185 goals scored, 110 against, plus 75 goal differential.
That's insane. I just want to mention something about the Avalanche. They have lost 3 regulation games since the start of the new year. So hashtag frauds.
Yeah, true. They only lead the league by 12 points.
Only now. Instead of 16 points, it's only 12, guys.
I think Connor McDavid passed McKinnon for most points in the league.
He might have. Did you see his point streak finally got snapped at like 19 or 20 games? McKinnon is tied with McDavid right now.
Both have 82 points. We're halfway through the season.
Wait, what? 82?
Yeah. Connor McDavid, and Nathan McKinnon have 82 points. I think they both could very well end up with like 150 points.
Well, right now they're on pace for like 140 to 150 points. Every time we get on the mics and we talk and we look at the points, it's like McKinnon and McDavid. Yeah, but then here's Celebrini at their Kucherov.
Celebrini's he is the only reason the Sharks have a chance to make the playoffs, in my opinion.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm like hardcore rooting for the Sharks to get in.
Oh, it'd be awesome. I think it would be awesome
really
to have a fun young team like that in the playoffs. The Sharks did just get Will Smith back, but getting back to McDavid and McKinnon, man, like those two. Like, if I had to pick right now, Connor McDavid is my heart. If I had to vote, I'd pick Connor McDavid. Vote for him to win the Hart Trophy.
Okay, that's fair. That's valid. I'm still going with Celebrini, but
yeah, I don't know, but Connor McDavid, I think, is the most valuable player in the league, and it's not close.
I hope you get fried. I agree. I think McDavid and Celebrini are up there. I would put those two on my ballot before McKinnon.
I don't think there's anyone on their team more important to their team than Connor McDavid.
So the Sharks would have like 2 wins right now without Celebrini.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
I know. If McDavid makes up for a lot of their depth issues, like really bad. And this is the worst the Oilers' depth has been since like 2016 with McDavid.
Yeah, their depth's not good.
They've just ruined it.
Yeah. Poor cap management, bad
It's just
trades,
like
and
we get into like this not argument but like discussion, like it feels like every single time we talk about these three where it's like, okay, the Avalanche are on pace to be the best regular season team in NHL history. Okay, but that's good. But McDavid is literally willing this team to a top 2 spot in the
I know
Pacific.
people. Well, he has Draisaitl. McDavid's getting points on most of Draisaitl's fucking goals.
Yeah. And then you go over to Celebrini, it's like, while he has 40 more points than number 2 on his team, it's like you have an argument for literally every single player. And frankly, I'm not arguing with you if you say McDavid. I'm not arguing if fucking Joe down the street says he thinks it's McKinnon. I'm not arguing if I say it's Celebrini. Like, I think all three players.
This might be a take here where I might get flamed, but I think I think Macklin Celebrini has a better case to win the Hart than McKinnon.
Oh, I agree. I thought you were gonna say something outlandish. I agree.
No.
I thought you were gonna say something like Celebrini doesn't even deserve to be in it.
Oh, no, he 100% deserves to be in it. I'm just saying, you look at the team, the Avalanche, like that's a good point. Like the Avalanche and Evan is an incredible team. Are they like they're probably like they're not nearly as good as they are without McKinnon for sure. But I think what Celebrini does for that Sharks team is just way more valuable at this point what McKinnon does. And that's not I'm not trying to say McKinnon like Celebrini's better than McKinnon. That's not what I'm saying.
McKinnon is better
at all. Well, he's been doing this for years.
Yeah.
But Celebrini, man, that kid, if he doesn't win the Hart this year, he will win it at some point.
Soon.
Like that kid is a franchise changing player.
And this is not us, I guess, punishing McKinnon for how good the team he has around him, because that's obviously every single player in this league wants to have a disgusting team around them. We're not doing that. But if you look at Celebrini, he doesn't even have his own Draisaitl that McDavid does, which is my argument for him. But at the end of the day, too, he's carrying the Sharks team. The Oilers are being carried by pretty much McDavid and Draisaitl. And then if you take McKinnon off the Avalanche, I think they're still a head above water. But obviously they're not as good because McKinnon's one of the best players in the league. He's top 2. You can say McDavid's first. You can say McKinnon's first. I don't care. I think both of them, honestly, I cannot pick which one's better right now. Like, genuinely. McKinnon's on another level. McDavid, another level. So
I just want to say, it's been so refreshing this year to see, like, some differences, and like obviously McDavid and McKinnon are going to be at the top every year, but Celebrini, being in the top 3, everything being so tight, there's so much parity in the league right now. It's just so refreshing to see a bunch of new teams and new players entering conversations like this. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. You see teams like Nashville has saved their season. They've been better. The Sharks. You have the Sabres. You have the Islanders are top 2 there. You have the Red Wings and Canadiens actually doing some damage. And you have the Kraken who are keeping their head above water.
What's wild to me about the Canadiens is a lot of people picked them to not make the playoffs.
Which is insane.
Yeah, like I believe we both picked them to make the playoffs, right?
I think so. I think we both had them as a wild card team.
But still, like, how can you look at this roster and the amount, all the young, great players they have on there, and say they're not at least a wild card team? They were a wild card team last year, and they were worse last year.
People that said that they were not going to make the playoffs that was outlandish.
Yeah,
very outlandish. I was on the fence with them, but ultimately I picked them because I looked at the roster and I was like, this team is young. They're only going to get better unless they just have it.
Last year they were ahead of schedule.
They were. And St. Louis has been the perfect coach for this team. Literal perfect coach. They hit everything with their draft picks, with their coaching, with their development. They have Jacob Fowler's playing in the NHL, who's been a very, very good goaltender for them. And he's going to be a Vezina candidate at least in his prime. He's a stud.
That might be a take there. But
that's not really a take. He's a stud.
Okay.
Maybe I'm glazing him a little bit too hard, but you guys get the point.
I mean, he didn't look great against the Sabres the other night.
I think, you know what? I'm not pinning that against him. The Sabres are a really good hockey team, and that's a very young goaltender.
Dude, I when I hear that, I like panic inside when like people say the Sabres are good. It's like, no, they are. Shut the fuck up.
And I love it how the Sabres are on a 10-game winning streak, and there was like, oh, they're on a 10-game winning streak, and that's it. And now they've won 15 of 17, and it's like, this team actually is for real.
Dude, I hate people. I feel so. I find it hard to believe. Like, it's just they've been so. Like I said before, I've been spurned by them so many times. I gotta see it to believe it.
I got to see them.
They could have like 120 points, and I'm like, I don't know about them.
You know what's a good stat that I found? In their last 82 games played, they have 94 points, whatever. And I saw a comment on Twitter and said they'd still probably finish ninth in the East. And I was like, that's so facts.
So I kind of did like this thing in my mind. I was like, I think I started it last Saturday where pretty much like if the Sabres get 25 more wins this season, they will make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That number, I believe, is down to 22. They've won 3 games since then. Who did they start their homestand against? It was last Saturday. Was it?
Anaheim.
Yeah. So they beat Anaheim, Philly, and Montreal. So that's so if they get 22 more wins this year, they'll put them at 100 points. That's a playoff team.
Yes, and they have 36 games to do so.
Yes.
So we're gonna do math real quick. That would be a win percentage of basically 600.
I think that's with how tight the East is. I think if you get to 100 points, I think you're a playoff team.
And this is the thing about this East too. Every time you lose in regulation, it's almost like our season's pretty much over. Even though you look at it like it changes. You have teams that have in front of you that have 48, 49, 50 games played, and you're still sitting here with a points percentage of 609. You're pretty much 3 points behind the Canadians with 2 games on hand. By the way, they play the Canadians 2 more times. You win those 2 more games, you're looking at top 3 in the Pacific. I mean, not Pacific. Atlantic right there.
They are top 3 in the Pacific right now.
That's true. That's true. Half the East is, though.
Just one more thing I want to say about the East, and like I don't know if you have anything else you want to talk about, then we could wrap it up. Is if you think it's crazy now, after the Olympic break, things are going to be like dialed up to another level because teams are going to be like, you got the trade deadline coming up right after that. Teams are going to be making that final push to try to make the playoffs.
You're going to see teams that are like, let's go be very aggressive. And then there's going to be teams that are like, let's just kind of stand pat.
Well, I think it's going to be like 2 different perspectives, I think, especially for GMs of these teams. Like, let's say you're Pittsburgh, right? You get after that Olympic break, you're looking, it's like, okay, we have a decent chance to be a wild card team. Let's look at our roster. How important on a scale from 1 to 10 is it to make the playoffs this season? I would say it's probably pretty important with Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
But you also have another thing is like, do we have a legitimate chance to win the Stanley Cup? Like, there's a few teams, like, in the East, like Tampa Bay, for instance, Carolina, were like, okay, we have a legit chance to win the Stanley Cup. We're going to go out and get whoever we can to help.
Yeah.
Then you have teams like Buffalo, for instance, that is like, we just need to make the fucking playoffs.
Yeah. And you want to make the playoffs, stop mortgaging your entire future.
Yes. And then you have other teams like, let's say, I'm trying to think of a good example.
Boston?
Yeah, Boston's, for instance, like, okay, like, I don't think they were necessarily expecting to make the playoffs this year. I don't think many people thought. I thought they would be one of the worst teams in the conference this season. Do you look at them, like, you're the GM, let's say you're Don Sweeney, it's like, okay, we're like 50-50 to make the playoffs. Do I even bother making a trade? And I think for some teams you say, yeah, no, like Philadelphia. I don't think it would make sense for them to buy right now.
They're probably just, honestly, I can almost tell you by after the Olympic break, they'll probably be like 7-8 points out.
Yeah, we'll see. But the teams are going to have to kind of define themselves of what their situation is.
And honestly, I will tell you this. We are going to see teams up until the roster freeze February 4th, not necessarily make moves, but we will see more separation in the Eastern Conference. I can almost guarantee you by the time the trade deadline comes, there will be only 4 to 5 teams competing for 2 wildcard spots, plus maybe those teams in the mix competing for top 3.
Honestly, I think one team I could see being really aggressive in roster moves is Ottawa.
Yeah, especially if they just kind of stay 3 to 4 points back.
Well, they kind of have been all year. It's just their goaltending has been horrific.
They are 7 points back now, too, though.
Yeah, like they won the last 2 games, but yeah, Ottawa, they've already been rumored in Rasmus Andersson talks. Like, I think they look at their team, they're like, we have a really good team. We just don't have a goaltender right now. Maybe they're hoping Olmark will be back sometime soon and kind of return to how we played last year. You go out and make a move at the deadline, get a couple guys in, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs, right?
Right.
Because I think Ottawa, like, they have a legitimately good roster. It's
They
just
can go on a run.
Their goaltending has just been really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably worse than the league.
It's been, yes.
So it's going to be fun.
I saw a stat real quick before we ended off. When the Senators have a goaltender that has a positive goal saved above expected, they are almost unbeatable. But the problem is that in 98% of their losses, their goaltenders have a goals saved above expected in the negatives. Which is, like we've said, if the Senators have an average goaltender, they're competing for a top 3 spot in the Atlantic right now. And that's just another team you throw
Look at
in
them,
the East.
what they did last year with, like, average goaltending, above average. Like, Olmark had a good season last year, and they made the playoffs. They were a good team.
Mm-hmm. They pushed through those 6 games.
Yeah, I think part of that last year was just inexperience.
If they were in that same spot this season, they legitimately have a chance to beat them.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. In the East, the West is kind of boring. So that's really
The West is like, okay, Colorado and Dallas are going to kill each other in the second round, and then they play probably Vegas in the conference final.
Vegas. Congrats, you have a shot.
I mean, it would be hilarious if Edmonton ended up being Vegas again in the second round. Like Vegas is such a better team, and McDavid's like, okay.
He's like, beat Vegas in 6 games, and he has 18 points.
Last year, the Oilers spanked the Vegas in the second round last year. It was not a competitive series.
Thanks to Stuart Skinner.
But no, the Oilers played like genuinely amazing though.
They
They were
did.
playing great defense.
They locked in.
Vegas had nothing.
That one image of the dude like and then sitting up or whatever, that was the Oilers.
Yeah, that was kind of absurd. I don't think they could do that again this year. But
I love it how last season I picked against the Oilers in every series, and then the one series I picked them, they lost.
I told you that we were going to lose because of you.
Yes. Then when they won game 1, I was like, maybe I've broken the curse, and then they got spanked pretty much the rest of the series.
Yeah, they probably should have lost that series in 5 if they didn't have that one ridiculous comeback.
Yeah, they were down like 3-0 early, and what was it, game 2 or 3?
It was
No,
game
3.
4
Game 4.
to tie the series up at 2.
Are you still on the Oilers wagon this season?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I picked my teams right before the playoffs. I don't even know if I'm Dallas' wagon. You know what? If the Sabres make the playoffs, I'll be on their wagon. So.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's going to end it for today's episode. If you guys enjoy all of our content, head over down to the description below and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Follow us on Apple and Spotify. Subscribe on YouTube, notification bell. New episodes every single Sunday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see you guys in our next episode.